We have also partnered with Kia Mobility Solution, which is part of the My TVS facility, having 1,000 plus outlets, and it is leading digital aftermarket platform. This will help us to strengthen our retail market presence and deliver best practices in the aftermarket tire service business. We also entered into partnership with JBM Auto for supply of best-in-class radial tires fitted with smart device called Trill, which is TPMS system, for their CityLine CNG and EcoLife electric buses. Further, the tire industry witnessed a steep input cost pressure which impacted the operating margin, but for which our profitability would have been higher. Nevertheless, we are taking judicious price increases across product segments. We believe that this pressure should ease the raw material prices and should stabilize from the second half of this fiscal year. Parallelly, we are focusing on measures to improve the overall operational efficiency. JK Tyre is a future-ready organization and has set out an ambitious target for ensuring both advanced and sustainable manufacturing practices. We are continuously investing in automation and digitalization with an objective to enhance customer delight and manufacturing efficiency. The company has also been working on the tech-enabled manufacturing excellence and transformation for improvement in yield, throughput, energy consumption, and quality. The company has taken digitalization in a big way to boost customers' trust. Our AI-based digital claim system is addressing customers' issue way faster than earlier. We are transforming internal systems and processes through digital enablement, bringing in operational efficiencies and cost rationalization. On the market outlook, we are expecting improved market conditions with the higher vaccination level and sharp recovery in economic activities. The recent July month auto sale has also indicated better offtake from the OEMs as the demand has started to pick up in the rural markets on the back of good monsoon and preference for personal mobility. Most importantly, the company continues to give utmost importance to the well-being and safety of its employees, business partners, and society. In this direction, we have launched an initiative, JK Cares program, to support the family of employees who have lost their life during this pandemic on 3 fronts: financial, educational, and health insurance. Now I would request Bajoria ji to talk about the performance of JK Tyre and subsidiary companies.
Thank you very much, Anshuman ji, for such an enlightening brief about the highlights and the performance of the first quarter of financial year 2022. The quarter certainly was a challenging one in terms of subdued demand and unprecedented rising input costs. Now, with regards to the JK Tyre subsidiaries, both the subsidiaries continue to contribute well in terms of overall revenues and profitability. Cavendish Industries Limited recorded a growth of 112% on year-on-year basis, which stood at rupees 687 crores and EBITDA of rupees 57 crores, which is more than 4 times on a year-on-year basis. JK Tornel Mexico has performed exceedingly well in this quarter. The market conditions have improved and we are expecting a better performance going forward. Tornel financial performance was better in terms of good growth on year-on-year basis and quarter-on-quarter. It achieved a turnover of rupees 471 crores with a profitability at EBITDA level of rupees 42 crores in this quarter. There was a good volume growth on the back of robust demand from Latin America and the US markets. With excellent stronghold in domestic market and leveraging on its brand equity, the company became the top supplier, number one supplier to mass merchandisers like Walmart, Chedraui and others in Mexico. Now I would request Agarwalji to brief about the financial performance of this quarter.
Thank you, Anshumanji and Bajoria. Coming to the performance of Q1 FY22, the total consolidated sales were recorded at rupees 2,618 crore as compared to rupees 1,138 crore in the corresponding quarter, registering an increase of 130% on YOY basis. The capacity utilization was more than 80% during the quarter. The replacement segment along with exports were the key revenue drivers in the quarter. Export revenues were recorded at rupees 476 crore vis-a-vis rupees 137 crore in Q1 last year, which is a significant increase on Q-on-Q basis as well as on Y-on-Y basis, and on Q-on-Q basis this is approximately 32%. Now on the profitability front, at EBITDA level, this EBITDA was recorded at 289 crore on consolidated basis. EBITDA margins on consolidated was 11%, 11.1% to be precise, in Q1 FY22. As already discussed, profit margins contracted on sequential basis due to steep rise in input cost. Although we tried to offset that to some extent, finance cost has got reduced by 17% on a consolidated basis by 23 crore on YOY basis due to lower interest cost, average interest cost and the lower borrowing. Cash profits stood at rupees 182 crore and profit after tax stood at rupees 44 crore. JK Tyre's two operating subsidiaries, Cavendish and JK Tornel, have also performed well and have significantly contributed to the performance on consolidated basis. We have already circulated our earnings presentation, which is available on our website as well. So I would imagine that you have gone through that to get more information and clarification about the company's results. Now we are open to take questions and would be happy to take it one by one. Request ISEC team to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Ashutosh Tiwari from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So firstly, on the Cavendish side, you mentioned that the EBITDA was around 57 crores, right?
That's correct.
So I think the EBITDA margin in Cavendish is around 8.3% in this quarter versus 14.3% in the last quarter. So I think compression in Cavendish EBITDA margin is much more than what we saw in the JK standalone. So any particular reason behind that?
So in fact, as we have also talked about increase in the raw material cost, and that is one reason, of course, for the reduction in margins in both the companies, JK Tyre and CIL. But in the case of JK Tyre, in fact, because we could pass on the increase in the raw material prices to the OEM suppliers immediate. But in the case of the replacement markets, actually we were not able to fully pass on the increase in the raw material prices, and because there is no sales to OEMs in Cavendish, so that is the reason for the lower margins compared to JK Tyre.
Okay. And so how is the trend in the price increases post, like say June, July, or this month? What kind of price increases you've taken?
So in fact, we have taken a price increase in the month of July as well, and we are expecting to take some more price increase to offset for the increase in the prices of raw material. So I think over the period of time, because as you are aware that there is always a lag in the increase in the finished goods prices and the raw material prices. So with a lag, this will negate the increase in the raw material prices.
So how much was the quantum of increase in July, and what you're planning going ahead?
The quantum of the price increase was 2 to 3%, and going forward, we will increase our price to almost in the tune of 5%.
So this will be like, you were talking about this month or next month?
In this second quarter.
And lastly, on the demand side, you said that June was obviously recovery was decent. So how you are seeing the trend in July? Is it July better than June? Is it going back to say Feb, March levels?
Yes, absolutely. So similar kind of the capacity utilization and the kind of the sales volume which we saw in the month of March last quarter. Yeah, and it's much better than June quarter.
And I like to add here is that this quarter compared to April, May, June, the July, August, September quarter looks better because the OEMs which were subdued in the first quarter, particularly the CV segment, that is coming back, and in the passenger car it is nearing good utilization of their capacities in the OEM.
And in any case, the economy is also now unlocked to the extent, don't you see?
Plus with the vaccinations
And
also helping the situation.
You were around 95% utilization level in the Q4. So are you going to go back to that level in this quarter?
We are already there at 95% plus. So hopefully this the entire quarter should do well and in that range only.
Okay. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vasudev Banerjee from Ambit Capital Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Thanks, sir, and congrats for delivering almost 150 crore of cash profit even in such a COVID-impacted quarter. Few questions, sir, just wanted to understand. As you said, close to 5% price hike total in Q2. So typically what happens as the price hike happens with a lag, a point of time comes when the raw mat basket stops increasing and the convergence happens of the requisite price hike, so the gross margin starts recovering. So post a 10-12% raw mat basket increase in 1Q, at current juncture, how do you see the raw mat inflation for 2Q? And when do you see convergence of raw mat basket and requisite price hikes?
In this, we see that the raw material prices are on a rise, and in Q2 also we see there will be a price increase in terms of the raw material. We will see that to whatever maximum possible we could offset our raw material price increase through judicious price increase in the market.
So as I said earlier, in fact, we have already taken a price hike in the month of July, and further price hike would be taken to offset the increase in prices of raw material. So exactly how much percentage that we have already indicated, approximately 4 to 5% price increase we will take. So that should hopefully negate the...
No, sir. Actually, sir, I was trying to understand, as per your sourcing strategy, how much raw mat basket inflation you see in Q2 for you over Q1, because already the raw mat gross margin compression. So definitely it will be great to see no more gross margin compression. But ideally, your steady state margin of 15-16% needs gross margin to expand back by 400-500 basis points. So just from that angle, I was trying to understand.
No, so the price increase in raw material has already taken in a big way in the last about 6 months' time. And more or less this has got maybe a small amount of increase in this quarter also we could see. So, but this is because with a lag, and the impact of the increase in raw material prices cannot be seen in the same quarter itself because we carry some inventory levels also. So on that basis, we are just trying to give you a picture that whatever price increase in the raw material has taken place in the past quarters, that plus the increase in price hike which could be there in this quarter, so we will try to offset that through the increase in price for our products. So exactly how much price increase could be there is slightly difficult to predict at this point in time.
And sir, any impact you see because of OEM mix reversal as such, because as you rightly mentioned, OEM demand was low, especially for trucks in 1Q. Can that be a deterrent for overall margin in next couple of quarters?
So as far as margins are concerned, we will definitely try to, let's say, improve upon the margins which is there already, but depends on how much absorption of the price of the product, final product prices can be seen in the market, because this is all such a variable and fast-moving kind of liquid market. So let's see how we look for the market.
See, the short answer to your question, sir, yes, OEMs have now opened up much more and they are going to lift more tires, and therefore it is definitely going to add to the top line and also the bottom line.
Sure. And last question, sir, like during Q4 last fiscal, not only you but many companies saw a major bump up in their working capital, and I'm saying reduction in working capital, favoring cash flows. So has that reversal already started now?
So some bit of the working capital increase is there with the volumes increase. So we are likely to maintain the level of working capital at this level only in future. And I think whatever reversal was to happen, that has already happened, and that is factored in the results for the quarter one.
Sure. And capex outlook for this year remaining same, a consolidated capex of roughly 200 crore odd?
Sorry, can you please
Capex,
consolidated capex outlook around 200-250 crore is remaining the same, or is that increased?
We talked about in our last discussion also. So yeah, we are going to spend almost about 200 crore rupees on the balance debottlenecking capex, and that will be over the period of 2 years. So that is what it is today. So we have not announced any new capex.
No change in that. Okay.
Yeah,
so surely the deleveraging spree should continue.
Absolutely, you are right. We should continue to see the deleveraging happening as we move forward.
Especially it's heartening to see at 11% margin also your annualized cash profit would be much higher than the capex outlook.
Yes.
Just going back to your first question regarding the mix, I would only like to say that JK Tyre is one of the largest suppliers in the OEM for TBR. And as long as the OEM picks up in the commercial segment, which we are hoping that in the compared to quarter one, quarter two would be better. So there will be a mix change that will help us improve the margin.
With regard to working capital, I just want to add one thing, that the basic numbers have also changed. Like when the raw material cost has gone up, the end product and the values have changed, the unit values have changed. So for that also, there is a slight increase in the working capital.
Sure. Thanks, sir. That's great.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Samir Desai from PS Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
Thanks for giving opportunity for the question. I have a couple of questions. I'll just export as a percentage to sales is 30% as of now. Going ahead, what will the target looking forward? Hello.
How did you calculate 30%, sir? 472 crores is the Q1 export. So overall, you've taken that of course, I don't think that level will be maintained going forward, depending on how is the percentage improvement in the economy, because obviously we are trying to cater to both domestic and export markets.
Acha. Okay. Then this is regarding over next 1 to 2 years on what will the revenue and EBITDA margin? Can you give some guidance over there and about debt outlook and capex requirement in next 2 to 3 years?
So as far as the guidance on the EBITDA margins is concerned, we normally do not give any such guidance because this all depends on how the markets is panning out. But just to give you an idea that the markets are looking better, and there is a study which was done. As per that study, the tire sector is likely to grow for the next 4 to 5 years at a CAGR of 12%. So we will try to maintain our market share across, so that we are in that position to provide good profitability in the company. So I can just say that.
Okay. And what about debt outlook and capex requirement in the next 2 to 3 years?
So as far as the debt outlook is concerned, I can tell you that we have the scheduled repayment of debt of about 45% reduction over the next 3 years on long-term loan basis. So if we continue to deleverage ourselves in that same fashion, then hopefully we will be maintaining a very healthy ratios, and the debt to equity will come down to almost about 0.7, 0.8 to equity.
Okay. Any export roadmap you have done? Any export roadmap?
So there again, in fact, on the export side has already been discussed. So we have just a minute. We have a strategy to grow our exports to geographically de-risk our business and leverage the synergies between India and Mexican businesses. So developing technologically advanced market-specific products, and we'll continue to create brand image for our products in the international market. So we will definitely focus on the export market as well. But how much growth we can have from that market, but this is giving a good traction in the market.
Okay. So
Here I mentioned from last corresponding quarter FY21, we have been able to increase our export 3.5 times, and from previous quarter we are higher by 32%.
Yes.
And we continuously focus on export, and we are as Sanjeev ji also said, that to de-risk we are focusing on different geographics in the world geographically, catering from India and Mexico to develop world-class products for advanced markets such as US and LATAM.
Okay. So last question, sir. What about China Plus One benefit? You look forward as a industry.
Could you repeat that question, please?
China Plus One benefit. How you look going forward for tire industries in India and particular JK Tyre as a you see China Plus One benefit?
We have seen a second country.
What is China Plus? Are you talking of imports from China?
Yes, sir.
Okay, look, the imports from China are still on a restricted basis, particularly in the truck bus radial, as well as in the passenger car radial. Only those sizes which are not made in India are being allowed to be imported. And therefore, at the moment, I think we are not so much worried on the imports from China as long as the present import policy continues. Because after all, you will appreciate that this is also dependent on the long-term import policies of the government from time to time.
And also, there is right now, as we speak, currently there is an anti-dumping duty from China on the truck radial tires, and there is from the Southeast Asian countries there is a restricted issuance of the imports. So this is helping the domestic players to increase footprint.
Okay. Thank you very much for the.
May I request ICICI team to restrict questions 2 at one time, because let them come back in the next round, because then let more people get a chance to ask questions, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Participants are requested to please limit the questions. The next question is from the line of Lakshmi Narayanan from ICICI Prudential Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. 2 questions. First is that if you look at for the whole year, how do you think the industry is going to perform, both in terms of margins as well as exports? Right. That's my first question. The second question is that in terms of your, in case your realization per tire is rupees 100 in OEs for TBR. What is the realization for tire you would actually get compared to that in the aftermarket? Is it 105, 110? How is it? So these are my 2 questions. Thank you.
So I'll take the first question. The outlook of the industry looks good and bullish. And based on higher vaccination levels, we see that sharp economic revival will happen and activities will happen based on government's announcement of the infrastructure projects which are coming in. We definitely see that the improvement in sales in both our replacement and OE segment will happen. We see over next 3 to 4 years, we are very optimistic and expect a healthy growth for the industry, which is expected at a CAGR of more than 12%.
13%.
The major factor for this driving will be demand, will be focusing on the government on faster infrastructure development. Then the scrappage policy will also play a very critical role as we go forward from the next year March onwards, and personal mobility. So these are the positives for the industry going forward. Am I able to answer you?
Yeah. So in terms of the Chinese things, you assume remain the same way for the full year?
We are hoping that anti-dumping duty will continue, and even the restricted list from on Southeast Asian countries which are importing, which are on restricted list, will continue.
Got it. And about my second question, which is in terms of realization, on that.
Yeah, so as we've already explained, there has been an impact on the overall profitability because of the raw material increase, and this has been really unprecedented. We've not seen such a steep raw material increase in the last 20 years. So to negate that, as I told you, in the previous quarter and the quarter going forward, we will be increasing our price judicially and to negate the price increase in the raw material. Apart from that, we are working with our plants and manufacturing for optimal efficiencies. We are also working on digital front. We are giving a big thrust to increase our channel outreach. In fact, we have already in the first quarter, we've been able to inch up to 200 channel partners. Increase our footprint there.
And
we are also increasingly engaging ourselves to get more approvals in the OEM. So for that, for the whole year, we are very bullish.
And what's the, as I asked you, what is the realization difference between OE and the replacement in TBR? Assuming OE is approximately, let's say, 100, you index it, right? So what is the price differential in general, and how that has actually compressed or expanded in the last 1 year?
Well, you mean the price in the replacement versus OEM?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it is slightly lower, of course, but you will appreciate that, it may not be, it is a little bit of confidentiality is also involved. But as I said, that certainly it is slightly less than the...
So my question is that whether it has compressed, so, whether that delta between the OE and the replacement, has it come down or has it actually gone up?
No. It continues to be around the same level as it was last year. Yeah.
Got it.
Delta has not compressed or delta has not gone up either. See, this is a standard phenomenon which has been continuing. It is traditional, so I don't think there is any change in that.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Akshay Satija from Alpha Investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much for the opportunity. First question is, could you help us with what was the capacity utilization for financial year 21 and what sort of production did we do? So I understand our capacity is around 6.3 lakh tons, right?
6.3.
They may calculate. Broadly, you are absolutely fine. So but we normally talk about in numbers. So we have a total capacity of 32 million tires. So it would be better if we talk about it in numbers.
So if you could help me with what was the production in 21 and the utilization?
There was a capacity utilization of 75% in FY21. And in Q1, this was 81% overall.
Okay. And so if I look at our EBITDA, so we are doing 25,000 EBITDA per ton approximately. So what would be our roadmap to do 8 lakh tons of production, and can we do like 40,000 rupees EBITDA per ton at that level?
So, because as I said, we have not been normally talking about in terms of the tonnage. So you can calculate based on the capacity you just mentioned in terms of the empties. So the numbers are in front of you, if you can kindly work out. So we are just talking about the numbers in terms of number of tires sold in different categories.
Okay.
Because that gives the right picture rather than giving in terms of the empty.
Okay. So one more question I had was, so what kind of capex do you think is required in the next phase, say, in next 5 years, what maybe brownfield or greenfield, and what is our capex versus the industry's capex? What would be our R&D spends from a 5 years point of view?
No, so as we discussed earlier, we have not yet announced any new capex except for the debottlenecking of some of our capacities at the plant level. So that we are going ahead, and we are committed to spend almost about 200 crore rupees over the next 2 years period to debottleneck the capacities. and then down further we will see as the demand picks up and we are certain about the kind of the demand situation, and with the economic activities picking up, we will definitely see what kind of capex should be considered. So we have not yet estimated any such number over the next 5 years, but we would definitely try to maintain the kind of the market shares we have today in all the product segments.
And just adding to Sanjeev ji, we have spent almost around 400 to we've able to significantly spend on our R&D in JK Tyre, and in the next 5 years we will continue that spending in our R&D in the next coming 5 years.
What would be the capacity increase from the debottlenecking that we are talking about?
10 to 15%.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mitul Shah from Reliance Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my questions. Sir, I have two questions. First is on Mexico operation. Sequential margins are more or less maintained or marginal drop of around 100 basis despite commodity cost increase. So, sir, want to understand the RM cost effect, what we have seen in India is not visible in Mexico operation. So is it a price hike we have taken there or product mix change, or and commodity cost impact is not there in that operation?
No, you are absolutely right. Both the things have happened. First of all, we have been able to take a higher price increase in Mexico as compared to what we have been able to do in India. And secondly, the product mix has also undergone a higher product, the passenger car radials are now being produced more, and as we have increased our capacity with effect from October 2020. So both these things have been able to help us to maintain our operating margin percentage.
Okay, my second question is on India operation, particularly standalone JK Tyre operation. Almost 450 basis margin impact is coming purely from the raw material side. We have done good on control on the employee cost as well as other expenses. But this RM impact you highlighted already around 2 to 3% increase and another 4.5 to 5% price hike. So nearly 7 to 8% price increase. Whether it will take care of entire this RM cost impact, or still you think margin will remain under pressure, or it will get restored in coming quarter?
In this, you're right. The prices we are indicating is for the coming quarter, but in the H1, in the quarter 3 and quarter 4, we will see opportunities to increase further the price increase. But on the other hand, we are, as I told you, that we are working very hard on our operation efficiencies as well, and there is a complete cost reduction measures throughout the company. Also, digitalization is a key thing which we are working, part of our cost reduction and better working. Plus, we are introducing new products which are high profit margins, which will be high profit margin in the replacement market as well. And our export thrust also is continuously going up. And there also we've been able to increase our prices in the export market as well.
But lastly, this increase in
regarding R&D spend, I've just been able to get some numbers. The spend during last year was about 87.25 crores, which is equivalent to 1.4% of the turnover. Now, if you go by the last 5 years, it is almost the same kind of a percentage that we have been spending year after year.
Yes, sir. So lastly, so this price hike of 4 to 5% we are targeting, that is in JK as well as Cavendish across the brands and across the products, right?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kaushik Poddar from KB Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
See, our margin is lesser than the leaders, namely MRF and Apollo in the last quarter also. For Apollo and MRF, it's in the range of 12.5-13%, and for us, it's around 11%. Now, as a leader, when can we get to that kind of level?
So we are actually, as we have been making all-out efforts just now mentioned by Anshumanji, that we have been working on the operational efficiency improvement. We are working on cost reduction measures, and therefore we are expecting that with some more time, I think we should be able to come along with the competition, and our margins should improve. But this is a statement which is of course subject to again the behavior in the market for the product price increase and the raw material price increase. So that is of course. But we have been working on all fronts, and this has also got shunned over the past. And there could be some reason of the product mix as well. So because we were not present earlier in the case of two-wheeler and three-wheeler, which is a high profitable segment again. So this could be because of that reason as well. So we are trying to work out a strategy wherein we can also improve upon the product mix, the high premiumization of the product. That is what we are working on. So on all fronts, we are working.
Okay, can we expect that by the end of this year you should be having industry-leading margin comparable to the other two?
Again, see, this is dependent on the product mix. The product mix, that will depend. So,
MRF has a higher two-three-wheeler component, yes. So that's why their margin looks little higher.
Plus overall.
Secondly, just want to add, you see, in these difficult times, the most important is the sweating of the existing assets. Where you get maximize the output from the available capacities. And I'm happy to say that's exactly what we are doing. Other things as Sanjeev has already mentioned about cost reduction and all that. But this is the best is that you sweat your assets, get the higher output, and I think that helps. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. At least your objective is clear. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Garvit Bakshi from Navodaya Enterprise. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Most of my questions have been answered. I just have one more question left. Sir, as you have already said that the price has been increased and will be increased even more due to the raw material price increase, I just wanted to ask, what is exactly the raw material price increase? Like synthetic rubber, carbon black. Can you please give me a bifurcation if possible?
So I can give you very broadly the kind of the raw material average prices which we have in the range of, let's say for natural rubber, let's say in the range of about 170 plus, or maybe for carbon black approximately 89, in the range of 89.90 or something like that. Then the steel cord, for example, in the range of about 155 or something like that. So synthetic rubber is also in the similar range. So this is the kind of the range of the prices we have been working on. So that is one question. And the second question which you asked about was the increase, further increase in the prices, right?
Yeah.
So as of now, I think the view is the raw material prices should stabilize from H2 onwards. And if that be the case, then we will be able to, because by that time increase the prices for our products, so we should be able to improve upon our margins significantly.
Okay, sir. Okay. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shashank Kanodia from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. So in the presentation, you mentioned the concept of green tires. So just want to understand, does it have entire carbon black be replaced by silica, or by what percentage? How is the pricing and acceptance in the market for the same?
Yes, we are very proud to say that we are the only tire company making a sustainable report. We are working very judiciously and consciously in the green tire technology, which increases fuel efficiency, thereby conservation of natural resources. Here we have elaborated this in our presentation, which we have put up. Here we have used eco-friendly material, which is reducing the emission and increase the life cycle of the product, which is tires, of course, offering reduced low rolling resistance up to 40%. Today we have one of the lowest rolling resistance tires to supply, and obviously there is no compromise on safety, and we are globally benchmarked and certified by the European test agency, which is ECE R117.
So in terms of raw materials used to manufacture these tires, so is there anything difference with the quantum that we use normally, let's say natural rubber composition or carbon black, synthetic rubber, or so on and so forth?
See, the composition of the raw material is by and large the same, but it is being substituted by some greener raw materials, which means that it will have less emission characteristics, it will be less pollutant characteristics, and we are using advanced raw material inputs to safeguard the environment.
So, sir, in that case, it must be substituting some amount of carbon black with silica, right?
Sorry, say that again. We could not hear you.
Sir, in that case, you must be substituting some amount of carbon black with silica, right? Or the carbon black quantum remains the same?
Oh, so this is actually we would not like to disclose what we've been using. So, but as Anshumanji just mentioned that broadly the composition is the same as across the industry, but we have been working on some of these raw material compounds in such a way that the emission is reduced.
But we've been using some high performance polyester and hybrid fabrics.
Right. Understood, sir. Secondly, sir, has there been any reduction in cost of debt for us, given that our ratings must have improved, given that we have retired a good amount of debt last year?
Yes, there has been a reduction in the rate of interest because of the rating improvement, and also with the very hard kind of a negotiation which we had with all the lenders. So our rate of interest average is sub 7% today.
Right. And sir, given that there is a price hikes across systems, plus there is a raw material price hikes as well, so we are confident enough for retiring debt this year as well, something to the tune of 400-500 crores.
Can you please repeat your question? There was some disturbance.
A little louder, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, sir, given that there is an increase in working capital requirements in the business, given that raw materials prices have increased drastically, so what quantum of debt reduction can we see this year? So last year we did something like 900 odd crores, right, which is the best ever in our history. So this year, can we?
As I mentioned earlier, we have already seen some flowback or increase in the working capital recently because of the increased raw material prices and the inventory levels, particularly in first quarter. But I think from now onwards, there is no likely increase in the working capital, and we are already working at almost about 95-96% capacity utilization. So there is no change, significant change likely actually from this level onwards. And as far as the debt reduction is concerned, we are working like, of course, the last year was an exception in the sense that we could reduce exceptionally debt exceptionally well So this year again, because of the improved profitability, we can, of course, we are seeing that the reduction would be to the tune of about 600 to 700 crore at least.
Yes, sir. Understood. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and one to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Chetan Salke from Alpha Invesco. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, in recent interview, the senior management has indicated, I think there's some interview given by Raghupati Singhania ji. So it said we will reduce the debt by 45%, which is close to, let's say, 2,000 crores in next 3 years. And at the same time, we aim to double our revenue in next 5-6 years. So just trying to understand what kind of peak revenue we can do from our existing capacities, one. And second, to double our revenue, do we need any capex, and how do we fund that capex if we are on track to reduce our debt? Okay. Would it happen from internal accruals?
So two things. One is that there is a discussion about 45% reduction. So that we are talking about from the present level on long-term loans basis in the next 3 years period. And this is all scheduled debt which will get reduced by 45%. So over and above, this is all dependent on, of course, the kind of the profitability, and we are very optimistic and hopeful that the profitability should be good, and we should be able to accelerate the debt reduction. So that is one part of it. The second part is, of course, at present the capacities are sufficient to, let's say, give us some about 30% increase in the total revenues. Just very ballpark number I am talking about. So let's say last year we did about 9,000 crore rupees. So let's add 30% approximately on that. So that is the kind of capacities we already have, and we will have to, of course, go for some expansion in capacities, which we have not yet decided as of now, but we will be in a position to take care of the expansions and the capacity increase through those expansions. And we will have to raise some debt to fund those, apart from the internal accruals. But the situation is working out in such a way that all the leverage ratios and the financial ratios will all be within very much control, and we will still be able to expand our capacities to fulfill our aspirations to double our revenues.
Okay.
The 45% debt reduction, as Mr. Agarwal has mentioned, is of the term loans as per the existing schedules, because so we are paying almost at the rate of about 15% per annum. So at the end of 3 years, we would have retired 45% of the existing term loans as per the present repayment schedule.
Sorry, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So the term loans will go down by 45%, and then again we have to go for further debt whenever the capex plan is announced. Any idea on in which category? I mean, we will go for further capex in passenger line, two-wheelers, or truck and bus tires, or we will convert our existing capacities into OTR or farm tractors, something like that?
As of now, because I have again saying that we have not yet finalized our plans, so we have been working, and we will see the market how it is panning out. But two areas that we can see, the TBR and also the passenger.
And yes, and the OTR as well as farm tires.
Yeah.
All these sectors will have to be taken care of. You see, because right now we are increasing our outputs, and as you rightly said, that all these will have to be seen depending on how the markets pan out.
It all depends on how the demand goes.
Yeah.
So we will be there. We will certainly expand in the areas in which the demand is good and is robust.
Okay. So I had one more question on the industry. So now, let's say in post-GST era, let's say if a truck was doing some 200 kilometers per day previously, now they have started clocking 350, 400 kilometers from articles that we read. Does it have any impact on the replacement market? Will it increase the velocity? So will the market in aggregate terms will go up for truck and bus? because the replacement cycle has shortened. Is that understanding correct, or we are reading too much into it?
Yes, you are right. The demand of the tires in the replacement market should go up.
Mm-hmm. But have we witnessed that? Because the number of kilometers has already gone up in last 3-4 years per day of an average truck.
The wear and tear is faster in that sense of the word than the demand pickup as the infrastructure and the speeds going up in the country. The wear and tear will be faster, and then we have seen that repeat demand is coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just one last question, if I can pitch it, or I can just join back with you.
Later, if necessary. Next.
Sure. No, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of S.D. Daya, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to know actually how is the demand supply scenario planning out in the next 2-3 years based on the capacities announced by you and your competitors, especially for TBR segment?
See, very broadly, I mentioned this earlier. The demand situation is very good in the next 3-4 years, and as per some of the estimates and the research conducted, the tire sector is likely to grow at about 12% CAGR. So with that kind of a growth, I think the company's revenue should double or more than double in next about 5 years' time. So that is what we are expecting this market to be.
So my question was a little bit different. I'm sorry. I was actually asking how is the demand supply scenario, demand and supply as well, because many of your companies must have planned out their capital investment, and whereas you are actually concentrating judiciously slow for better utilizing your assets. So is there actually, because it is a very intense.
So the demand supply situation, the demand is definitely very good, and the supply will also pick up. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
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 So can you hear the management? Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
As the participant cannot hear us, we'll move to the next question, which is from the line of Chetan Phalke from Alpha Invesco. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I just have one question on the industry. I mean, we were just looking at top 25 tire companies globally, and all 4 Indian majors are already in top 25 because of the domestic volume. So, can it give Indian companies an advantage in terms of cost leadership, and can we start exporting in a big way? Because if we look at the global tire trade, it is more than some $70 billion, and India is not even doing $2 billion. So do you see opportunities opening up in that space, or can we see more traction on that front going forward?
No, that is, thank you. This is a good question. Definitely, Indian manufacturers and Indian manufacturers in India have got an advantage from rest of the world, because the tires which are also competing in the rest of the world are with Chinese and many other brands, and quality has been perceived very well of the Indian brands. Now, from last year to this year, there has been an increase in terms of export from India to the rest of the world. There are a few things in terms of logistics costs and some of the supports, infrastructure supports. When I mean infrastructure, which is in terms of labor reform, power subsidies, and other big items, which government's intervention can help us become more competitive in the rest of the world, for the rest of the world. Currently, in the short term, there has been a lot of mismatch in terms of shipments, in terms of vessels sailing into India. So, and the freight rate has, gone even 4 times, 5 times higher. So that has become a very not a competitive scenario. But in the long term, with export story for India, as I told you, if there is government intervention, then there is a fantastic case which exports get double or triple even, for that matter.
Okay, so you're talking about the sector itself. The sector itself can triple going forward.
Yes.
I mean, over the next decade or so, the export sector. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the export sector.
Because I think the Chinese companies, they are exporting north of $15-18 billion only to the US. So we are just wondering, I mean, what is it that Chinese companies are so competitive? Is it the logistics, or is it the subsidizing, or what is it that they are able to export? They are able to ship it so far and still grab such a large number of the market share, or such larger market share. That's what we are trying to understand.
Actually, the answer is in your question. It is the government, the huge amount of, there is 140 items of government subsidies, and that's why they have been able to compete in the worldwide market. Yeah, so that I would say this is a mix of that.
Okay, so X of subsidy, they don't have any other advantage. I mean, the Chinese companies.
No, the
on
size
the raw
of
material
the
side.
business is also helping them, you see. The size, installed capacities are much, much higher. And of course, the number of tire manufacturers in China, to our mind, is almost about 3 to 4 times the number of plants that exist in India. So all that has made a difference over the years, you see. That is a different matter, that how many are working and how many are closed. We will not be able to discuss this in this investors call.
Okay. All right. That's it from my end, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand over the conference call to the management of JK for closing comments.
No, thank you very much. And it was actually, we could see that there are a lot of good questions which were put forward. And we can only give you a guidance broadly that the company is looking forward with an optimism in the market, and we are trying to maximize and improve upon our operational efficiencies and focus on the replacement as well as the export markets. So thank you very much for joining this, and once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.